The term anime are from Japanese word animation, and these terms are nowadays used to refer any kind of animation from Japan, with its unique visual style that differ from Western animation. Speaking about anime through the time is more and less affected by some events that occurred in Japan, since it was made for the first time until the current situation. It is affected by humanitarian, mentality, or even natural disaster matters. Let's have a look at this pioneer of animation named Katsudo Sashin, or moving picture, that was made in 1907 and it was made traditionally onto film using a stencil. Moving on to the next era, in the 1917, Namakura Gatana was made. Basically, this is a short comedy anime that tells about a samurai who loses every time he attacks a weak person because of his dual-edged sword. At around this time, samurai were still very common, although Japan was still in the first phase of urbanization. And from 1914 to 1918, Japan participated in World War I on the Allied side and played a role in securing the West Pacific and Indian Ocean. It is reasonable since most of Japan's military pioneers are former samurai. When World War II occurred, Japan was one of the countries that had full power in the Axis bloc. Japan expands its power to conquer Asia and invade some regions, and in that time Japan introduced some propagandistic slogan to its occupied regions like Japan is the older brothers of Asian nations and the 3A slogans which consist of Japan is the light of Asia, Japan is the protector of Asia, and Japan is the leader of Asia. This is meant for Asian nations to support what Japan is doing, willing to be part of Japan, and trusting Japan will help them to be free from other colonials. And for this matter, all kinds of ways are done by Japan to attract people's sympathy, and inside Japan itself, they made animation based on propaganda to show how superior Japan was at the time. One famous animation that was strongly influenced at this time is Momotaro, which is root from a Japanese folklore character named Peach Boy. Momotaro in this era has two animations, so let's see the characteristic of each Momotaro anime. The first are Momotaro no Umiwashi or Momotaro Sea Eagles were released on 25th March 1943, and the main plot recites the story of Japan's biggest successful attack on Pacific area on 7 December 1941. What is that? As you guessed, it's the Pearl Harbor bombing. In this animation, the animals such as monkeys, rabbits, and dogs are act as soldiers, and Momotaro himself become the general of attack planning. The Onigashima that are mentioned in this anime are literally translated to Demon's Island. Depicting the Western troops are demonized here. As it is propagandic animation, the US Army are depicted as a fat and stupid people, and yes, the island referred in this anime are meant to be Hawaii. A depressing version of America's national anthem music can also be heard in this anime after the bombing scene. The second one are Momotaro Umi no Shinpei. It's the second anime that was released on 12 April 1945, which is around 4 months before Japan and its Axis group were lost at World War II. At the time where this anime was made, Japan's position on the Greater East Asia were still in the dominant position. This animation meant to show that Japan is a nation that is already developed, and they expand the action into the remote area where the civilians are there, and have some Japanese soldiers that are in charge of teaching them Japanese letters through the traditional song to memorize it. Still, the characters here are animals, but if we look closely, some of the civilians are native animals from the countries that was occupied by Japan, such as Bekantan and Siamang, primates that native from Indonesia, and also kangaroos. It makes sense since Japan was invaded Australia back in 1942. And for the primates that are native from Indonesia, they made the character using black copia, which are known as the head accessories of Indonesian men. And in this anime, there's one scene that shows Rumah Gadang. Rumah Gadang is a Indonesian traditional home, and I'm sure that this anime took settings in Indonesia in around 1945. Next, as we know that Japan is located on an area where several tectonic plates are called Ring of Fire, Japan's topography is rugged and there are many faults and steep inclines, and that makes Japan prone to natural disasters like earthquake and tsunami. And this inspired some creators to make an anime based on this. For example, a scene in The Wind Rises by Studio Ghibli is inspired by the Great Kanto earthquake that occurred in 1923 with a magnitude of 7.9 Richter scale. In Your Name anime, Makoto Shinkai inspired the 2011 Tohoku earthquake and tsunami by representing the thought of Japanese people about the natural disaster, such as we will never know what will happen if the natural disaster happens. All things could be different just in seconds. In Japan Since 2020 anime, Masaaki Yuasa used his own experience to show what would be the character feels when a disaster happens, how terrified the characters are among with unclear information about what was happened, and the disinformation that might be leads to the wrong path. Of course, this anime inspired by 2011 Tohoku earthquake and tsunami disasters in Japan. That's how anime in Japan are influenced by some events that occurred in Japan. Thank you for watching.